So I was gonna talk about this yesterday. Actually, I was gonna talk about this shooting yesterday, but the more I did some research into it while I was like farming clips and farming articles and stuff to look over, the more complicated it became. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it is the Kenosha shooting, and if you haven't heard of it, I'm glad that you finally found your way out of that rock, from under that rock. But welcome to the real world. I'd like to introduce you to me. My name is Shark, and listen. You'll thank you so much. So there was a 17-year-old who was a part of a militia, a right-wing pro-police, pro-property rights militia group who went up to Kenosha, Wisconsin, because that's where the Jeff Blake shooting was. Jeff Blake, the Deuterino, got gatted in the back 7 times, maybe permanently paralyzed, we're not sure. But he took 7 bullets, and my dude kept on ticking. He's still alive, actually. He's in stable condition. There's a story we're going to talk about later. He actually got his the federal warrant on his arrest was lifted. They took the handcuffs off of him because this whole time, I didn't know, but he was actually being handcuffed to his hospital bed. And there were like cops waiting for him to get better so they can throw him in jail. That is no more. But there has been a lot of unrest in Kenosha ever since then. A couple nights of looting, a couple nights of riots, a lot of bad stuff, and it was on this militia group, this Facebook militia group, to put together this hodgepodge group of fail sons to go up to Wisconsin to protect property, and their main goal was protecting, listen here, a car dealership. Imagine spending the rest of your life in jail over a car dealership. Imagine that for 1 second. All right, stop what you're doing and just imagine being a part of a Facebook militia group, shooting 3 people and spending the rest of your life in jail over a car dealership. That is an incredible amount of liberal disassociation from the value of human life and thinking property rights, in this instance, trump human lives. But that's also a topic for a complete another day. He was interviewed a couple times during that night. He was shown working with the police. He did like a Sharingan hand signal to the police, and they like let him through even though he was holding a long gun. And they gave him some water. It was even said that there was somebody who was talking to some BLM protesters that the police actually pushed the protesters towards that militia group, and then they say they just that the police would just leave after they pushed them towards that group, like in a way from like, I don't know, like a federal building or something, I don't know. And then this happened. A shooting happened. From what we've seen so far is that Kyle, that's the shooter, Kyle Rittenhouse, that's the shooter. This is the dude, was being chased by at least one person who lobbed a Coke bottle at him and then continued to like kind of like staggeringly follow behind him. There was a gunshot. Kyle shot the guy. He domed him. All right. It was like, I just shot somebody, ran away. People tried to stop him. There was a Deuterino with a skateboard, bopped him on the shoulder. He got killed. There was another guy who had a handgun. He pulled it out. Kyle blew his arm off, and then he walked back to the police line where he whereas people were like, he just shot 3 people. Kyle just like moonwalked past the PD as they went to go, I don't know, club some protesters head in or something. I have no clue, honestly. So with all that being said, those are the facts of the matter. Who's in the right, who's in the wrong? I have no clue. There's so many confounding variables here that I can't bring myself to talk about this specifically. But what I wanted to do in this segment was talk about sort of what we can do, as the people on the side of protesters, not necessarily looting and looting, tooting and shooting, not necessarily that, but on on the side of BLM, on the side of protesting, on the side of civil disobedience, things like this. What can we do? One thing that I was thinking about while I was hearing about all of this and looking through all the footage and everything, is that these groups go to these sorts of rallies because they know left-wing people will be there, and left-wing people are less amicable to gun rights usually. And with that being said, they know that there's going to be less people there with weapons, and with that being known, they can go there with relative impunity and feel like they can do whatever they want. Make believe police, you know, they can cowboys and Indians their way into these protests and basically do whatever they want. The police departments in those areas usually are pretty amicable to them. Let them kind of like run the roost until they kill somebody, and then they're like, oh my, we gotta go back. Oh my gosh. So these sorts of things happen. And you can look back to a lot of these shootings, a lot of people will say that, oh, look at what the protests have done. Oh, look at all the shootings that have happened. Well, lots of the shootings have been either not connected to the protests or from not protesters. That black police chief or whatever who was shot next to like one of his friend's stores. That guy wasn't affiliated with any like BLM protests. There are other people who were shot and killed by people who weren't affiliated with the protests. There were even some people who were shot by members of like Boogaloo who were literally there to try and start a race war. So, I mean, lots of these killings have not had to do anything with the protesters. But the sad thing is that a lot of these deaths are protesters. There are lots of people who go there to gun someone down and then kind of book it and feel like they can do it with relative impunity, and or just be able to get away with it because they know there's a lesser likelihood of someone retaliating with their own lethal force. And with this being known, lots of these guys can just like walk in and feel like if it comes to blows, it'll be like shooting fish in a barrel. And if you looked at all of the footage from what was happening, it was basically Kyle just kind of walking around and shooting fish in a barrel. Like the best weapon that the best weapon that was kind of used was a skateboard, and I'm not sure how, well that you will usually work, but that guy is now dead. There was one guy with a pistol, but we can talk about that in just a second. When these sorts of things happen, they can just kind of like do whatever they want. And I'm thinking, lots of people kind of need to start to wake up and realize that this really isn't as cool and fun as we, thought it was, originally. Oh, yeah, we're gonna get out there and we're gonna protest, and I'm gonna hold my paper mache Michael's bought a paperboard BLM sign, and it's gonna be good. And then people come, in their militia group, here to protect private property that isn't even theirs, protecting a dealership and ready to end lives over the new 2021 Toyota Corolla. That's weird, but it's also very, very bad for us personally. And they can do it because they know they're not going to be that many guns. I think that we probably need to take the route of something called mutually assured destruction. Think of it like North Korea. Do you really think that we're going to invade North Korea? The answer is no. As the biggest military power on the face of the earth and the biggest military power to ever exist, ever, with more gun power and more weapons to destroy the surface of the planet, probably at least 2 to 2 3/4 times over. We are not going to invade the tiny, poor nation of North Korea because they have nukes. And they're ready to bomb our ally, South Korea. If they can't reach us, they said they're going to just wipe South Korea off the face of the planet. And I don't know about you, but every once in a while, I like seeing pictures of South Korean people walking around in their high fashion. I think it's super cool. So I don't want those pictures to stop. And I don't care much for the K-pop, but everything else, I think it's kind of cool. I do like tofu. And Korean people seem really nice. They're really friendly with Mexicans, and I think that's kind of cool. Like a little cultural thing going on there. I think it's through soccer, actually. Interesting. So we need to take like that sort of route, I believe. We need to have people there who have guns and are ready to use guns. The last person who was shot by Kyle was someone who had a pistol. Kyle shot the guy with a skateboard through the stomach. He stumbled and died. As soon as the shot rang out, the guy who had the gun froze. He just completely froze and stopped. And Kyle was, he already shot two people by then. So he was ready and raring to go. He pulled out his rifle, and he's lucky he didn't lose his life. Let alone could have probably lost his arm. So what I'm thinking is that it's time to really not do like revolutionary type stuff, but it's time to actually do some self-protection. I feel like if you're going to a protest, if you're going to any sorts of these things, then you need to have a weapon on you and be ready to use it to protect yourself, protect your comrades, protect other people there who may be in danger, because the right is ready to kill people and the people online are ready to lie about you when you get killed by them. So that's where I am right now. Hopefully sometime soon we'll have more information to talk about this subject soon. Actually, his trial was pushed back, and do you guys remember the Covington kid, the kid who was like smirking at the Native American dude banging the drum in his face or whatever? Remember that guy? Kyle hired the lawyer of that guy, and now he's working with that council. It's interesting, but we can talk about that at a later date. That's all I have for right now. You got a serious question with some of the riots going on right now. Would there be a chance that it helps Trump enough to win the election? 538 looked at that, and it seems like it's not translating in any boost for Trump or downturn for Biden at all. Biden has talked against, no matter what, any weirdo two-head right-wing talking head will tell you, Biden has spoken out against the riots several times actually, and it hasn't seemed to be turning against him very much. It seems like people already found their places when it comes to this. You disagree even if you think you have a point? Really don't trust cops enough? Bringing a gun to a protest would definitely increase your chance of being killed by... Well, there haven't been... Well, just look at the no fucking around coalition, you remember those guys? Was it not? Yeah, the no fucking around coalition. These guys. I get what you're saying, but actually, when these guys marched, there was a police blockade, if I think I remember. And when these guys said they weren't going to change their course, the PD just backed up. They just got out of the way. These guys as well. This is actually near in a city that I'm near, or around, not necessarily near. When these guys, marched, the PD did basically nothing. When there's 350 people there with guns and body armor ready to use it, the PD kind of just backs off a little bit. And I think I remember as well, there was one, I forget where it was, but it was when Boogaloo and BLM teamed up, the police tried to tell them to move and they just linked arms and said no. The PD just kind of gave up. Yeah, it really doesn't take much to scare cops. Yeah, I think it needs to be collective. I feel like if these people or another group just got a bunch of guns together and just had a united front against these weirdo right-wing militias, I think that there would be a big turn, or at least we'd be able to hold a front against these people ready to just gun down protesters over a target. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, here's what it was. The police tried to stop them from marching here. It's a really this I didn't know this existed, but it's a massive Confederate monument that's a really ugly mural blown out of the side of a just big rock. This is it, and it's in like Virginia or something. It's really ugly. But yeah, so that happened, and I remember hearing Kyle like I should have mentioned that. Yeah, I remember Kyle. He was interviewed earlier in the night when he was busy defending that car lot. He was like, we don't have non-lethal. I mean, he understood that if it came to blows, that it would be that the altercation would be escalated to lethal force instantly. It would be escalated to lethal force instantly, and he was ready to use his gun, but nobody else there was, and that's why I think he was able to get away with like a lot of the things, and how those militia dudes were able to kind of walk around with basic impunity without anybody holding up any sort of putting up any sort of fight. Oh no, dude! Like when he was like, "We don't have non-lethal," after he said that he was allegedly pepper sprayed, yeah, that basically told me everything we need to know about him. He came there looking for a fight. He was looking for no good, like illegally trafficking a firearm to go defend like a coffee shop. I don't know, dude.